Hello guys, welcome back. In the previous episode, we have seen dynamic dashboard. It's a part one kind of thing. So yeah, so in meanwhile, I just added a few tweaks here. Just added the Bootstrap guys. So if you doesn't know about Bootstrap, you could go check that out in the internet. It's a kind of a framework, so which helps you to simplify the designs. Okay, so it doesn't need to focus on most of the design part. Okay, set. So I just imported it and added, so you could see a new layout kind of stuff. That's the only thing. So all things are old. So we just getting these two things from the database, and we need to get into further. So dynamic dashboard concept is to build the dashboard based on the permissions and kind of stuff. Yeah, that's cool. So before we go into further, like into that thing, the management stuff. So I was thinking, so before we build this backend, I mean the skeleton, we actually need the skeleton before we build the body, right? So if you check the blogs, okay, so actually in any kind of a blog, so it start with the post. So I'm thinking, so we need thing on our blog too. Okay, so while I was going through my APIs, okay, the existing APIs we have developed, so we have this getPosts API. Okay, so let me just get into it. Yeah. So yeah, one more thing to mention actually. So these are all about classes, guys. So you'll find the code in the GitHub. So I'll provide the link in the description. And if you doesn't know about it, the Bootstrap, you'll just go through some tutorials. It's not a big deal. It's about just importing the classes. Okay. Yeah. Now the API. So we had this get post API, which is being called calling this get method. So where we'll be getting this output. 1 second. Oops. What just happened? Yeah. Yeah. Fine. Cool. So this is the output we are getting. So when we hit that, we are getting a post ID, category division, post, some published on stuff. So but the concept here is we need the actual post, I mean the title, we need the author and the publish. So for that we could use that, and publish ID can be helpful when we are redirecting to that particular page. Okay, that's cool. So this is how I zoom image or thumbnail or whatever it is. So we're going to use the craft thing, and we're going to use this to the publish date and the other. We doesn't have this intro text, but we'll have this continuing, which we'll call as view post. Okay, design layout I'm coming in is like a card layout. Okay, let me show you. Yeah, so basically these bootstrap cards are really simple to build. Okay, so these are the cards in assuming if you assume there are 3 cards in a row like this, 3 cards, it indicates each card is a post. Okay, so that would be beautiful. So before that we need to modify our API right here. Yeah, so the API is actually not getting the stuff we need. Okay, so it's getting the post ID. Okay, that's cool, but we need titles. That's not there. There is a category. Okay, that's we could use that. We had revision ID which need not to be mentioned in the API, so we're going to remove that. And based on revision ID, we have the problem here is it's negative. So we concluded ourselves in our previous episodes, negative number indicates the post hasn't been published, right? So we need to remove which is less than 0 or not equal to 0. So we need to make sure that always the revision ID should be greater than or equal to 0. So that's one thing we just missed on that API. And finally the published on, that's fine. Okay, yeah, let's go. So I'm gonna rename this as ID. That's cool. And one more thing, since we are need to handle with this multiple tables actually. So yeah, so if you come here, so the post title is in the post database, actually in this database, whereas our post content is in another table, and the post metadata is in another table. So we need to have uh, managing with 3 different tables actually. So we did not go with the content, but we need also information of the user, because the user name need to be displayed instead of ID. So if you see here, we are only referencing the author ID, so which is actually pointing to his name. So we're going to fetch that. So for that I need to import 2 more tables. Okay, yeah, so one thing I'm fetching here is blog underscore post underscore meta. Yeah, so the other table I need is blog underscore users. The other table I need to be getting is blog underscore post. Okay, so in this case we need aliases would be a really good choice here, because it will be easier to you know understand the data. Yeah. So I'm considering the metadata post meta as PM and blog users as U and blog post as P. So now, so we need the post ID from the either any of them. So I'll say it's from P. So P dot post ID, that would be great. And category is from PM dot category. And the revision ID, it's not required. Instead of revision ID, we're gonna pull the title. Okay. So I'm gonna say P. It's not. It's P dot title, right? P dot title, which should be renamed as title. That's good. And finally we need yeah, post ID, and finally we need the author ID. So I'll say it's author. Okay, so which is from u dot username. Yeah, so if you check here, I need to fetch this username from you. So now how we combine these tables? Okay, the first thing we have thought is we need to remove the revision ID which is less than 0, right? So I'll say here pm dot revision ID underscore id is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so it should be greater than or equal to 0 all the time, and u dot uid should be equal to, okay, no space, should be equal to the p dot author id. Okay, so let me check the naming conventions once. Yeah, post underscore author id, actually post underscore author id. So and one more thing is we need to combine the metas, post meta and post. So for that I'll say pm dot post underscore id, oops, post underscore id should be equal to p dot post id, post underscore id. So let me check, is post underscore id here in the meta what it is. It's also post underscore id. Yeah, so now the API is ready, so let me hit here. Okay, it says bad request again. Oops, we just figured out the error. So it's post underscore title here. Okay, so and we also need to have few things up here. We forgot. Okay, so in here we just forgot an end, and that's not it. So after PM category, it should be PM dot category because we aliased it. Okay, so if you go to end, there are few things we need to have the alias with PM dot, and it can be P dot. Okay, so it doesn't get into the conflicts. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's hit this API and see. Yeah, so we got the JSON right now. So you could see now we had ID, category, title, author, and the published on, and it also making sure that it is greater than 0. Okay, so greater than or equal to 0. So the revision ID, which indicates a positive number, which is either 0 or more than 0, is to be published. It's actually published according to us in the database. Yeah, so we're going to use this data to be displayed on our front here. So it's going to be like a card layouts. Okay, so let's do that. So yeah, it should be on our dashboard, not dashboard, actually home. Yeah, so this is where it should be. So before it actually begins, I'll have here a div. Okay, end it. So I'll have a class which is a container, so it can hold it, not just flow it, it's just a container. That would be cool. I need a container. Inside container I'll have a div of rows. Okay, okay, so now inside this, for now I'll just write the script here itself. Later we're gonna change this to another file. Okay, slash script. Yeah. So here the ID of this is like post. Okay, post underscore container. So this is the one which is going to contain all our posts in the form of cards. Okay, so yeah, so as usually we'll use the fetch. Okay, so fetch, and then the URL is the one this. Yeah, so we'll use this URL. Oopsie, yeah, fine. So URL, that's one. And now, so since this is a post method, we should say this method is using the post. Okay, so we are using this because we are sending attributes. When we have in our previous episodes we haven't done this, so I'm getting it clear. So we also need to send the headers. Okay, the headers should be a JSON again. So the JSON should contain two properties. One is the accept type hyphen type, okay, which is the application slash JSON, and the other one is the content type, which is also the application JSON. Yeah, so our inputs are these two. Okay, so our inputs are offset and limit. Offset indicates the page and the limit indicates number of items to be loaded. So for now let's not limit those stuff, but if you want you could. So for now I'll give them as static, so in case if you want you could update them. Or okay, so body which should be JSON stringified in the JSON format, JSON.stringify of. Okay, so inside that we'll give our JSON, so which is first one is offset, which is 0, and the limit of it could load is 5. Okay, so I could load 5 of them, I mean 5 items in the block. So let's make it 6 so that we'll have two good rows. Okay, res uh, so I'll just convert the JSON. Yeah. Right below that we'll have another then, because that returns here, so this is actual response we need. So I'll just console log of res. So finally we need a catch block which is going to catch the error if anything occurs. Yeah, cool. So now we had our fetch command ready, so let's refresh our page and see. I'll keep my inspect element open so we'll know if any errors occurred. Console, yeah, fine, let's refresh. Yeah, so there is next 44, there is some error. No, not error. So we got a JSON, so which is sent a JSON. Okay, actually it should be a function, that's my bad. Yeah, so we got a data. Okay, inside edit we got this stuff. Yeah, so data is having a variable called post. Okay, so inside post, it post is a array, so the array is the one we are going to display. Yeah, so inside this right here, okay, it doesn't need this. I'll say const post equal to press dot data dot post. Okay, so now we got that array into a single variable. Okay, so we could use that to iterate or each element, each post, I mean. So we could use the map function on the post variable, which is going to iterate all the posts. Okay, post, and yeah, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a div element. Okay, const div which is instead of div I'll say it's a card. Okay, so since we are creating a card, I'll say it's a card. So document dot create element of div. So this div is going to be having a set attribute. Okay, card dot set attribute. So the attribute is about class. Okay, the class is gonna be the card. Okay, so it's a card, that's gonna be fine, right? So now this card is going to be holding all our inner HTML. So I'll just use the inner HTML tag. Yeah, single quote. Fine. So in this inner HTML we're gonna put all our data. So before that, so once we are putting our data, we need to put our output, the card, we need to append the card into that variable right there. So yeah, so document dot get element by id, seems to be a little fast right here, dot append child of card. Yeah, so now it's going to iterate all over the post, and it's whatever the card has been created will be embedded into that. So cool. Yeah, so let me copy this inner card body stuff from here. Yeah, Oops, yeah, fine. So let's post it here. We'll give the tab space enough to be inside. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we need to give the backslash because we need to ignore the line breaks. Yeah, so inside the card title we need to give the title of the post. Okay, so I'll say it's a post dot title. Okay, so backslash here, and the subtitle for now, the subtitle it's like yeah, so let me show you. The subtitle is the one which is going to hold the published date, so I'll say it's a published on, so I'll just put the published date here. So post dot published on, so right there. So once it's done, it's done there. So it doesn't have any intro text, so card text will be eliminated for now from here. That's cool. And we also need the author link here, so this is the one which is going to hold the author's link. So I'll place the author link here. Say post dot author. Okay, whoever published created that post. Yeah, the final link will have the view post, so it's gonna be like in a caps view post. Yeah, so yeah, let's refresh the page and see how it works. Cool, right? Yeah, so the problem here is if you check it's not been aligned, so I want 3 posts in a row, okay, not most of them. So for that we have this option called a column. So in the what column does is it's going to allocate number of columns. In Bootstrap there are 12 columns in each row, okay. So if you assume there are 12 columns, we have a container and stuff, so if you want to allocate 3 of them for each row, we have to give each column of size 4. So which will be done right in here. We'll say column hyphen, sorry, it should be small, it's column hyphen 4. So now it should be 12 will divided by 4 3 times. So see, now we could see have 3 of them. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so did I get 7 of them? Yeah, I think so. The limit should be a little adjusted, so we'll look into that after that. Yeah, I'll fix that. Okay, don't think that's not working good. Yeah, okay. I'll see that later. Yeah, so now we got our cards perfectly set. So I need this to be a button, so which is on the right side, so let's try for that. So I'll say it's class, it already says class of link. I'll say it's a button tn hyphen out line hyphen secondary. Yeah, so now I could see that that's a good one right there, view post. So if it's right aligned, that would be fine, but for now I'll leave it like that. So you could see the post, so when someone clicks on the post, it's gonna be redirected, which we will see in the next coming episodes. And how that happens, we're gonna have that. So we already have that API actually, so we just developed, not just developed, we just, yeah. So this read post is gonna be helpful. So to that we need the post ID and the revision ID for that. So yeah, so actually, so right now we doesn't need actually revision ID. So if so what how we're going to manipulate the API is going to be in the next episode. Okay, so for this episode, that's it, how we wind up. Okay, so that is a kind of you know, a kind of update we are presenting you guys. So this is how we came in the blog. So you could see the change password, all these forms has been changed to Bootstrap. Okay, this works really cool. Now we are loading the post, and in the next episode we're gonna see how display that post. Okay, thank you, hope you guys like it and subscribe and share. That would be really good. Thank you, bye bye, peace out.